Hey everyone. Yeah, thought I'd come here and kind of talk to you guys about something that I did on camera a couple weeks ago. See, several weeks ago, I addressed the fact that Ken Penders had um, tweeted out the fact that there was going to be another lawsuit involved, or at least hinted at it. Well, that wasn't the only tweet he sent out. A little afterwards, he sent out another tweet about Ian Flynn, and most specifically Lost Hedgehog Tales. Now, for some of you that don't know, Lost Hedgehog Tales is something that Ian Flynn had promised to do 2 years ago. Now, some fans over at several sites have speculated that the reason we hadn't gotten Lost Hedgehog Tales as Ian had originally planned to release it, because he did plan to release it within that time frame 2 years ago, or at least a little over a year and a half ago, he planned to release it. Some fans have speculated that the reason that didn't happen was due to the fact that Archie Comics was basically hoarding him down, basically weighing him down, if you will, with work. Now, of course, at the time, you had 4 comic books that he was working on. It was actually 5 when you think about it. Well, actually, at the time when he made the announcement, you only had 4 comic books he was working on, and then with the addition of the Boom comic about a year or two later, his work kind of got hammered down. He kind of got hammered down with a lot of work. So, long story short, some fans believe and speculate that the reason we didn't get to Lost Hedgehog Tales as soon as Ian promised it would be released was due to the fact that maybe Ian had informed Archie Comics that he was going to do it, and even though Archie Comics came out and said, and probably told him, okay, fine, that's cool with us, some fans speculate that Archie Comics didn't really want Ian Flynn to do it at all, and thus, the reason he was hammered down with so much work. I mean, he had work, he was writing for the main comic, he was slowly, part-timing on Universe and kind of gradually giving that over to other writers like his wife, Aaliyah Baker. He was working on Sonic Boom, but also kind of sharing writing duties with others like his wife on that one. He had Mega Man, which a lot of people thought was some of his best material, as well as he had New Crusaders, which was part of the Red Circle division of Archie Comics, which is Red Circle being, of course, kind of like their DC Comics division. And then, of course, he has his own little projects that he works on the side. So with his own personal projects aside, take a look at working on 5 comics, as well as on the occasional magazine and digest and all that. It doesn't really help a lot. It doesn't really give enough time for you to want to go out and do something that you had promised to do long ago. And with Ian, he had promised to do Lost Hedgehog Tales within maybe a little less than a year of its original intentions. Basically, Ian Flynn wanted to get the story out as soon as possible. And one could understand that. One could understand Ian Flynn wanting to get it out as soon as possible. Kind of give fans an idea of, yes, this is what we were supposed to do. This is what we wanted to do. But we never could get to it. Fans could understand that. Fans could accept that and go like, okay, Ian, now we do see. It's like, okay, Ian, we do see that you originally planned to do that. We do see that you wanted to do this and all that. But, again, he never got the chance to do that due to the fact that, according to some fans, he was hammered down with a lot of work. Now, again, that is just one fan's opinion, and they're entitled to it. Well, not just one fan, but several fans, and they're entitled to it. But it seems Ian Flynn is not really involved in any of this. All Ken Penders was doing was basically trying to, protect him from making a mistake. like I said, some fans speculate that that's the reason. That maybe from Ken's own experience, he knows what Archie's really about, and that even though, as some fans have pointed out, Archie said okay on the project, the Little Lost Hedgehog Tales project, that in reality they're not okay with it. Like, no, we're not okay. Like, basically, this is what I get from it. This is what I get from it, folks. This is what I get from it. I get the fact that, now, so again, people have their opinions about both guys, and even about Archie and Sega. They have their opinions, and that's perfectly understandable. That's perfectly understandable to have your own opinions about things. But here's what I get. Here's what I'm getting from it. This is what I get. From what some fans have said, by kind of sort of defending, not really, but sort of defending maybe where Ken's coming from, that basically they're saying, because this is what I get, this is what I get from what they're reading from Ken Penders' tweets, and from what they're speculating, this is what I get. And what I get is they look at Ken Penders having more experience with Archie and realizing that Archie may say one thing, but they may try to do something else behind your back. Like, in other words, like with Lost Hedgehog Tales, even though Ken Penders wanted to get it out a lot sooner, not Ken Penders, but Ian Flynn, I should say, sorry about that, even though Ian Flynn wanted to get it out a lot sooner, from what I understand by reading some fans' take on it, it sounds like Archie Comics may have said okay, but they were planning to hammer him with a lot of work so that as one fan put it, he'd probably forget about his project, Lost Hedgehog Tales, or basically one fan looked at it like it would delay him, which it did, or Archie might hope he would forget about it, which he didn't. So that's the speculation, in my opinion. That's sort of the interpretation that I get from this whole situation. That maybe from what other fans have read at other sites and thinking it over, that Ken Penders is not doing any harm. He's just trying to say, hey, look, they may say okay, but you have no idea what you're doing. That basically they may say okay, but they're not telling you everything. Or they may say okay, but in reality it's not okay. So I don't know. I mean, that's what I get from it. Just by not only rereading that tweet, but from reading what other fans at sites like SatAmSonic.com and the message board, Sega.com, and other places, that this is what I get from it. This is what I get from it. But apparently it's not just about, I guess, protecting Ian from from getting himself into trouble. I don't think it's just protecting Ian from getting himself into trouble because he currently works on the comic. No, I think it's mostly the fact. No, it's not that. I should say. Hold on. It's not just that. It's also the fact that there's a lot more involved legal-wise with Ken Penders, Archie Comics, Comicology, and according to Ken Penders, 40-plus freelancers. That's right, 40-plus freelancers. So, I don't know exactly what's going on. But you see, that's also what's happening with Ken Penders. And that's why, as the title says, Ken Penders back in the news again. The fact is, this whole lawsuit that he was hinting at, it's not about Sonic, mostly, from what I can understand. Some think it is. But it's mostly due to the fact that, from what I'm reading, from what people are reposting from TSSZ and other sites, from what I understand, it almost sounds like, it almost sounds like, in my opinion, from what I could tell, from what Ken Penders has retweeted to several fans that are thinking he just will not give up, and that he's doing this on purpose, and that, From what I've read on his tweets, and from what other people have speculated, it sounds like there was some kind of a miscommunication between the Archie Comics app, the new revamped one, and the Comixology app. You see, on both apps, if you will, or websites, you can buy digital copies of the Sonic books past and present. Either the Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Universe, Sonic Boom, several of the super specials of the past, maybe even some past Knuckle comics, digest, whatever, you can buy them. So apparently, from what it sounds like, a miscommunication in pricing kind of fell through. Something happened to where I guess maybe Comixology, Archie Comics, I don't know who, hasn't followed through on their agreement to pay royalties for distributing or republishing a lot of the stories, even in digest or digital form. So that's what I'm getting out of this. That maybe some kind of miscommunication between Comixology and Archie Comics occurred, and that's what set Ken Penders off, because he's probably getting his royalty checks. He probably is getting his royalty checks, but he's noticing that something's a little off. Like, why is this one different? Because it might say, where are some of the percentages coming from, but he's probably looking at that thinking, well, wait a minute, why is Comixology's different from Archie Comics, or why is Archie Comics different from Comixology's? So that's apparently what's going on, and it sounds like there's more involved, like maybe other freelancers that have worked on the comic and other Archie comic books out there besides Sonic, because it sounds like it's more than just Sonic. It sounds like it could be the main Archie book itself, Betty and Veronica, could be when the Turtles were on board, when they had the Turtles license, I should say, and several other licenses, and several other things like Sabrina, Jughead, you name it. And even some of the subdivision comics, like maybe Fox and New Crusaders, what have you. So it sounds like it's more than just Sonic, the Sonic comic book, or related comic books of Sonic involved. It sounds like it's more than that, because how can you have 40 plus freelancers working on one book, or some of its relations? How can you have that? Even in its, 22-year history, how can you have that? You don't. So, I mean, it is possible, but not really. It sounds like, again, it's more about other comics that Archie produces and publishes, past and present, that these 40 plus freelancers, along with Ken Penders, had worked on, and now something's a little off maybe between the fact that the applications, the apps, if you will, of Comixology and Archie Comics are not, I guess, doing the pricing correctly when it comes to purchasing the books, or the digital versions of the books. I mean, that's what I get from it. That's what I take from it. And if that is the case, then yeah, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. But will it affect the comic of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Universe, Sonic the Hedgehog and Sonic Universe? Will it affect it as a whole? I don't think so. Because unless people come out, unless 40 of some of these 40 plus freelancers come out and say, oh, that character belongs to me, I didn't give him permission, oh, that character belongs to me, that character, da. If they do that, then yeah, the comic's in trouble. But they could do that for any other comic book that Archie Comics has licensed to publish. So, it's all up to it's all basically what I look at it. What I look at here is it's all up to what the courts decide. That's how I look at it. It's all up to how the courts decide it. That's how I look at it. I don't see it as anything else than that. I see it more as something that the courts are going to decide down the line. And honestly, in my honest opinion, this is going to probably be one of those cases that even as big as it is, as much as that's involved, I don't think it's going to last very long. I think it's going to be one of those outside of court settlements. Something's going to happen, and that's the last we're going to hear of it. That's how I look at it, because I don't think this is going to affect the comics of either Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Universe, the magazines, the digests, the graphic novels, the sagas, any of the Archie comics, like Archie himself, Archie and Friends, Jughead, Betty, Veronica, whatever. New Crusaders or anything. I don't think it's going to affect any of those. I think mainly in the end, it's just going to be something that once again is going to be probably settled out of court, and then that's the last we're going to hear of it. I guarantee that. Now, as far as some people are concerned, though, there are some that still speculate that the reason Ken's doing this, even along with 40 plus freelancers and other parties involved, that one of the main reasons he's doing this is the fact that he wants money for his Lala Sue Chronicles project. Now, if that's the case, then here's a guy that's desperate for money, that's desperate enough to do whatever it takes to get money because maybe he doesn't have the money anymore to complete his project. And if that's the case, then Ken Penders, what did you expect? I mean, there is no doubt, Ken, if that is the case, if that's the reason you're jumping in on this, if that is the reason, then what did you expect when you did what you did? I mean, I get the fact that there was maybe something there, maybe some kind of writing or contract or whatever that stated, hey, you got to pay me royalties if you want to still keep using my characters even after I'm gone. I get that. And I can understand maybe if that got lost and there was some kind of, miscommunication because of that. But still, what do you expect when you use as much of the royalties that you have gotten to do your project and all of a sudden you don't have that many? I mean, even though you're still getting the royalties, you're not getting as much as you would like, maybe because of what's going on with Comixology and Archie Comics app. But again, what did you expect? I mean, you want to do this graphic novel that you want to turn into a movie and all that. What did you expect? Huh? Doing something like that is not easy. Yeah, you can come out and do promotional images. You can come out and tease us with the first 2 pages. That's fine. But what did you expect? But what would you expect, huh? If the reason you're taking part in this is to get more money to help fund your project, it doesn't make sense. I mean, okay, all right. Maybe it does make sense because maybe you're not getting the royalties correctly as you would think. Maybe you're not getting the right amount like you think you should, or getting that right percentage from both sides. Okay, I can understand that, but still, what did you expect would happen when you started this whole thing several years ago and you just wouldn't, I mean, come on, honestly. I mean, what did you expect? I mean, all of a sudden, you decide to come out and you want to do the Lala Sue Chronicles, and at the time, when your characters are going to play a specific role in the Mecha Sally arc, what did you expect when you started to do this? Again, I can understand the whole behind-the-scenes issue and maybe the fact that royalties weren't being paid because a contract or something got lost. I get that. But what did you expect? Huh? And quite honestly, Ken, I'm not saying that this is the reason, that's the reason why you're taking part in this. I'm not. But if you want my advice as someone that did enjoy some of your writing, there's a thing called Patreon, there's a thing called Kickstarter, there's a thing called Indiegogo. Why don't you sign up for one of those sites, and that way you can explain through video or through text, whatever, what your intentions are, and then maybe you might have people interested enough to say, okay, we'll give you the money, we'll help support it to see exactly what this is going to be like in the end. Those 3 avenues are the best avenues to go for, in my opinion. So, but again, I'm not saying that you jumping in on this, Ken, is the reason, you jumping in on this whole situation because of a miscommunication of royalties fees that need to be paid correctly between Archie Comics and Comixology got miscommunicated. I'm not saying that the reason you're jumping in is to get more money to help fund your Lala Sue Chronicles. I'm not saying that. But if it is the case, I'm just saying if it is the case, then I think everybody listening to this will agree that maybe going to Kickstarter, Patreon, or Indiegogo, or whatever to help fund your project might be a better solution. I'm just saying. Again, I'm not saying that this is the reason. I'm just saying if it is, there are better avenues to go down, my friend. Better avenues. But apparently that is why Ken Penders, folks, is in the news again. Apparently there is more to the lawsuit than we thought. And apparently, according to a lot of fans, the reason he's tweeted what he did about Ian Flynn and Lost Hedgehog Tales is mainly to protect him from maybe Archie Comics backstabbing him in the back. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, that's what I get from it. So those are just my opinions. You guys let me know what you think down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.